people say, so long as there is evil in the world, good will rise to meet it. And that basically means because of evil, good people must act. And so long as evil continues to strive, good people, people oriented toward the good, toward the preservation of innocence and good, will sacrifice whatever necessary to oppose or to defeat said evil, right? So, me explaining it probably makes less sense than just the statement. But if that's the case, then why after probably 2 generations of really, really getting away from the biblical family, where you had your sons able to go to work with you when they're young, you know, spend time with your children. And now that doesn't mean much because nobody spent time with your dad. You know what I'm saying? But why are we shocked when we've had multiple generations of people totally screwed up in their family life, their family's orientation, when we have suddenly a generation, my generation, that are more sensitive? Clearly, you don't even need to bring God into it. I'm going to say God has done this, but you can say genetics. Clearly, genetically, we were ready for a generation that was more sensitive in the ways that we should be sensitive in order to combat and understand the ways in which we have been let down, ways in which we have been left behind. And it's this: your sons need to work. I was just wondering, as far as mental health, I had a brief, I don't call it mental health. I don't know why people call it that. That's kind of weird to me. And I don't do the whole love yourself thing. That's weird. But there was a period of time where, what do they call it on here? Trying to end myself, right? Was on my mind quite frequently, and then it wasn't. You know, maybe a year and a half. Basically, we got a dog, and that was enough to kind of pull me out of it. And then I just, I went out to my grandpa's farm as often as I could, every single day, every weekend, every summer. But I can't talk about it in front of my parents. Can't talk about it in front of my dad because it makes him feel like a failure. Can't talk about it in front of my family because they don't want to hear it. It's like, wow, I'm glad I don't have those feelings anymore because you people would make me want to follow through with it. What do you mean I'm telling you about issues I've had and you don't want to hear it? This is crazy. This is literally crazy. I can't understand that. But I guess I'm just walking to the barn getting ready to do some chores this morning, and because I got to finish these chores before the week's up. And I was reflecting. I think I understand a big part of why I was so, let's say, sad, discouraged, something like that. And it's because my father was always at work. I don't know why. I don't know why I need my dad. I don't know why he needs to be there for me. It doesn't matter. Across the board, it probably just matters that he's your dad. You know, if you love your family enough to go to work and to be away to provide for them, then he probably knows that you are the one that loves him. And if he doesn't understand that, that's a different subject. But I understood why my father was away, and I knew exactly what he was doing. I'd been to work with him before. But I didn't go all the time. It wasn't safe. And my dad didn't have necessarily any skills, not a blue-collar guy, and not a white-collar guy either. So what I'm saying is I want to encourage my generation, the young guys in their teens coming up right now in high school, and the guys in college right now, or trying to decide what to major in still in college. The guys that have already graduated, the guys that are trying to start their careers, stop it. Go learn a skill. You can do computers if you want, whatever, but learn a skill that you can teach. Because if you can teach your son the computer stuff, that's fine. But you need to have something that when you have a son or when you have a daughter, when you have children, they can learn how to be adults at a very early age. That's why you had people getting married at 13 and 14 and 15 years old. Well, not just overseas, here too, but like Mary, Mother of God, Mary and Joseph. Why was she so young? That was normal. Why do you think starting puberty, you have all these urges and these feelings and stuff? Oh, we'll just bottle that up. Oh, preach abstinence. How about 3 years before you start puberty, you start on your trade? You can do something else if you want. You can learn anything. You're so smart and you have your family support and then you also have your wife. But at least have 3 or 4 or 5 years training, apprenticing in your father's trade. By the time you're a teenager or 12 years old, by the time you're 9 or 10, I think the Jews were able to start in their father's field, in their field of work. So if we can be around our parents' skills, if we can be around our parents' work, then that will allow us to mature earlier. And so we become dependable, and we know what to do with our hands. You wonder why there's mental health issues, or that, I don't know why they call it that. But it's because we don't actually go out in nature, we don't do things. We're just expected to figure out ways creatively to pass the time. And we're so creative. It's amazing what we are able to do and come up with to pass the time. But we need to do things. We need to work on things. We need to have projects to work towards. I don't ever feel, and I can't do it all the time really, but I don't ever feel as healthy and as strong as when I am building toward a competition in arm wrestling. That's my field of choice. That's my sport. And maybe that has to do with not having deadlines in school. I'm just taking a couple classes online. It's not a big deal, just as I go. But goals or not, you have to have a work. You have to work on something. That's why God gave you a body. And part of maintaining health in the mind and the spirit, which your body holds together for you, is to use the body, to stress the body, to consistently train. Anyway, just my little thought this morning as I was on my way to the mower. Stay after it, you guys, and find truth in arm wrestling if you can.